So, I've been debating on making this video for a while. I think it was a good idea to hold off until the end of Amphoris to make a tier on the characters I like and why, because Amphoris cooked. Amphoris cooked real hard. So, there's some small criteria that I want to mention for this list, because I do think it matters. As a Honkai at third player, I am massively impacted by bias towards characters from that game. So, I made a rule for myself that any characters that are XPs of Honkai at third characters, I really need to think about what is different from these variants to the original characters and how much I enjoy that part of them. And if it's based on only what I like about the Honkai at third character that they're actually based on, then it's going to devalue them because this isn't a Honkai at third list. This is a Honkai Star Rail list. I need to love what they do uniquely with these characters as well as what the character's baseline is. So that means that the XP characters got hit kind of hard in quite a few instances, which hopefully will result in a less biased list. Will I say that there are no XPs on my list? No. But I think that their placement is fair based on how I feel and how I feel about the original variants and what I think these versions do well. Another thing is the only character not impacted by that is Welt Yang. Because he isn't an XP, he is that character. So he gets basically the unique position of getting all the benefits of his Honkai at third variant, impacting his placement, and then anything that Star Rail has done with him as well impacts his placement too. He is probably the most biased one here, with no attempt to correct it. If you guys dislike that, then I'm sorry, but yes, he is on this list because I have a strong affinity to Honkai at third, and there was a lot of media attached to him, even though his presence in both games so far has been quite minimal compared to other characters. If you have read the Anti-Entropy light novel or Second Eruption, you will understand why this man gets his placement. I will go through the reasons for each character as I get there, so we'll start with number 10, who is Sparkle. Honestly, when I thought about my favourite characters, I was quite surprised I ranked her so highly, but it comes down to a very simple fact. There is no other character kind of like her in the narrative, and I like what that can do for it. She is chaos energy. We know very little about her despite we got so much interaction with her. She is still a massive mystery to us. She's a fun-chasing element that just throws everything else into the unknown the moment she got involved. She showed a willingness to work with the Stellaron Hunters. She's tied to the Elation, which is a bloody kind of weird path anyway, and its Aeon is kind of mad. I like how she's just able to do kind of whatever she wants. She can fill in whatever role she wants as long as she's having fun, which means she has so much potential in the future. And the bits and pieces we have actually gotten of her supporting us for some reason, we don't know the motivations behind it, her random escapades in the dreamscape, her direct involvement with trying to rig the ending of Penacony to help Firefly because of Silverwolf's commission. Those are really cool ways to utilise this character. Is she my favourite by all means? No. But does the potential of her entice me enough to rank her so highly? Yes. And what we've got also does the same thing. Number 9. If you would have asked me back during Penacony if I would have placed this character here, I would have told you were crazy. It is Acheron, who is an XP of May Raiden from Honkai at third. The reason why she places 9th is because a lot of my love from her does stem from third. For those who don't know, because I'm pretty sure I have said this before, but it has been a while, May Raiden is my favourite character from Honkai at third. Her arc is one of, if not the best, in the entire game, and this character is basically walking back through the experience of third and carries over May Raiden's best qualities, which is her kindness and her willingness to do what needs to be done. But she doesn't have the same development arc as May. Acheron does a lot of cool things in the story. She actively supports us, and there's a lot unique going on with her because of a connection to the Nihility, the impact on her memories, her personal journey, what she's had to do in her past are all actively impacted by the Nihility in ways that differ from Third, but I think that a lot of the alignment of her character and Third, currently without more going on with her, I think that this is a fair placement. Once they investigate more of what's going on with her and her active journey through the cosmos and potentially confrontation with Zephyro, she will move up. But for the time being, I cannot, in good consciousness, move her above certain characters on this list, as things stand. I love Acheron, but this is me trying to pluck away my personal bias. 8th. This character moved up a lot recently. They were not my 8th favourite until Amphoris happened. Herta. She has done a lot. I've always liked how cocky she is. I like that she's brilliant, she knows she's brilliant, she proves she's brilliant. Yes, it affects her ego, but it's not all sure. It is something definitely there. But despite the front she puts up, she's incredibly moral. She is willing to do what absolutely needs to be done. By one, in an alternative ending, sacrificing herself to prevent Noose being destroyed and ending up with the third Mechanical Emperor, which is still super tragic and hurt a lot more than I thought it would when I watched that. And she could have damaged Amphoris. She could have just decided this isn't worth the effort and done something about Amphoris where Amphoris' life wouldn't have been spared and the cast would have maybe sacrificed them by choice. Unlike Xandar, who originally saw Amphoris' residents not as human, this girl clearly does, based on the fact of how she handled Amphoris, because even March acknowledges that Herta probably could have destroyed Amphoris if she wanted to, but she didn't. Why? Because she wanted to leave the possibility open for Amphoris' world to thrive because she valued their human experience. That, to me, is the action of a hero. Is she portrayed as the hero usually? No, she's portrayed as kind of selfish and self-centered a lot of the time. But her morals are so good, and she is so capable. I couldn't rank her higher only because of the characters above her, but I really like her. I came out of this with a newfound respect for Herta. Her actions in Amphoris basically filled in the last things I wanted. I mentioned it in my tier list that I wanted her to be shown to have done more. Up until now, we haven't seen a whole lot of what Herta herself is capable of. We've only heard of her feats. Now we've seen them, and just how far she's willing to go. And that, to me, is the one thing I needed that they've now given me. Now 7th. This character we need more of, but even based on just what we've gotten so far, I need them to be here. It is Kafka. One of the leading characters of the game, because the Stellaron Hunters are going to show constant progression, like constant appearances as we progress through the story. She is one of the more mysterious members outside of Elio. We know her motivations, we know why she is a part of the Stellaron Hunters, we know her willingness to commit murder and lack of feeling towards it, we know her lack of fear. But, because of the way that the Stellaron Hunters' story is likely going to progress, eventually Elio is going to make good on his deals, meaning he has a clear plan for how Kafka is going to feel afraid. And, to me, the best way that they're going to pull that off is by her feeling that way because of our position. Because the one thing they have made clear multiple times over is her attachment to us. She cares about us. Blade makes a point of it. Silverwolf kind of acknowledges it. And she herself never denies it. She is always open to giving us the choice on whether or not we can be close to her. But her words make it very clear just how much she treasures us, even if we, by choice for some reason, can reject her. I don't see why it was ever a choice. To me, that should just be stroke canon that we choose her. I like the air around her. She is very classy, very cool, very collected, and very willing to do whatever the hell she wants. It's another character like Sparkle where the elements she adds into interactions are just really fun for me, while also having so much to build on and so much going on that I think that potentially, depending on how they handle her, she'll move up in the ranking only. She won't ever move down. So 6. This is because of amazing character writing so far. I think that this character struck a bit of a chord with a lot of people. It's Sunday. Sunday is a very good boy who has the best of intentions but handled it in the worst way. He went through a very human journey in pushing him to accept the world as it was and trying his best to find a way that worked to build the sort of world he was after. Did it work? No. Going that far in a way of becoming Enna didn't succeed. Something very funny and ironic now is, of course, we now know that the Harmony is one of the paths that leads to the apocalypse, so technically, was what Sunday did actually a good thing for the universe? By resurrecting Order, Harmony would have died, preventing that ending entirely, but Enna's dream would have prevented the Trailblaze from continuing, which could have enabled another apocalypse. It's weird food for thought. But now we've got this boy who realises what he did wrong and wants to improve and find genuine ways to build the sort of paradise where people don't have to suffer anymore. He learned from Welt. He had really good moments with Welt, actually. I really loved that. He clearly wants to put in the work. He's seeking a redemption, but he's also just seeking a way forward. In contrast to his sister as well, it definitely makes for a fun observation to see the parallels in these two, where both of them will eventually likely meet at the same point despite taking completely different journeys to get there. Sunday has a lot of potential for the future because he's now journeying with the Astral Express. I hope that they really lean on him at some point and involve him as one of the main companions we have, even though I highly judge his VA in English. Now we're on number 5, the midpoint. And this character, to cap it off, when I first thought of my favourite characters, I would have listed her way higher, but because of the rule I made on XPs, I did move her lower. It's Serene. I love Serene. I love Elysia though too. The reason why she ranks higher than Acheron is because of the contrast between the original character, Elysia, and her XP, Serene, in their stories. They do something quite fun with Serene in the fact that they invert the role that Elysia had. They swap her role from being Elysia's role in the story to Kevin Castellana's role in the story, which creates very different ranges of emotions that we never would have seen on Elysia. Elysia never would have given up to despair. Ever. Yet Serene does. Lament is one of the driving forces of her story. That would never fly with Elysia. Ever. She has Elysia's character traits. She is a bright, sweet-hearted girl who definitely has a bit of an ego about her beauty and the positives about herself. And she cares incredibly deeply for others. But she's also willing to let herself hurt instead of propping herself up to be strong for others all the time. She was willing to perform something that would have caused the worst end of the story, like freeze the universe, which actually is another reference to Third, the spiritual Adam, which is the method that Kevin Castellana aimed to use to save humanity from Honkai, by putting them all in a shared dream, which resulted in stasis, because they could never move forward with their lives anymore, while trapped in these individual and collective dreams. It's just really neat to see that exploration. I hope in the future that we will see her again, but I think it's gonna be a big long while. And until then though, she is happily in 5th. 4th, this man is the character who is most familiar to the Honkai Impact 3rd players, because it is our guy. Welt Yang, a Joachim, is our boy. So this man has an active track record of heroism. As a child, he took on the core of the Herrscher of Reason and actively was involved with trying to protect the world on many occasions, sacrificing almost his full body and almost completely dying. He literally recovered himself from just a core alone by giving himself up to fight the good fight. The one issue I have with Welt is I don't know how they're going to make him grow further than he already has. His journey now is trying to return home. We still don't actually know how he ended up in this position, because the original trailer that revealed Honkai Star Rail had him with Carol and meeting what I assumed at the time was Kiana, but I actually think it was a version of March that they came across who gave them the flower. But we don't know anything beyond that. We know that he canonically came out here with Void Archives. We don't know where Void Archives is. We've seen Locha, but Locha is not Void Archives based on what we know. But here we have Welt, stuck out here, unable to return to his friends and family. Travelling along with the Express until then, he still has his adventurous spirit that he's always had since his youth. He's well-mannered, has so much experience and so much time to offer to the younger members of the crew, and even the ones technically older than him. You know, Dan Heng doesn't age the same way, yet Welt is seen as the wise elder, despite he's likely younger than Dan Heng in actual years. He's a mentor figure in the Express crew, but has had the time in his old story to show it off. He's shown off just how much he cares about the others. He's dedicated time. He's still super capable, even though he no longer has the full extent of his power anymore. The Exotale showed him willingly facing off against Zephyro. Yeah, he loses, but the fact he fought all shows our guy has still got it. And I hope in the future they can find a nice way to slowly integrate his desire to return home into practical actions in the story. It might be a while, but I will look forward to seeing our guy go through what he needs to, and eventually, hopefully, reunite with the two characters shown in his splash art, Tesla and Einstein. 3rd, this is the best unique male character of Honkai Star Rail to me, Dan Heng. This boy has gone through growth. We started off with him as a massive introvert. He clearly was considerate of others' needs, but was quite distant, plagued by nightmares based on his past. We slowly progress into the Xianzhou Luofu, where he's forced to acknowledge his past, and it's revealed to the other members of the Express, and face it, but he doesn't make full peace with it yet. He is willing to do what he needs to, and it does slowly change him. Then we reach Amphorius. He shows more consideration. He shows more of himself to the others. Now that his past is revealed, he hides less. Once Amphorius happens, though, he actively takes part in the fun that the Trailblazer and eventually March are having. March's earnest request for photos impacts him. Because she can't join this journey, he reminds us about the camera. He wants to try and give, at minimum, a friend. I think it's gonna eventually hopefully be, I'd love for it to be so much more than that, but just, you know. He is willing to go that far to give his companion their brief request of, can you take photos since I can't be there? And he reminds us repeatedly, saying, this is a good moment for the photos. He takes part in the Seal Slammers event. We learn that at the very beginning of the journey, he found us dying and was really distraught by that. And we see him face the illusion of Dan Feng and just accept things as they are and move past the original. Moving on from his past into a new future. His decisions are massively impacted. He has learned from his past and has decided what he wants. He's become more mature as a result of this journey. And I really appreciate that. It's very human and he's just a really good boy. I love our boy. Number 2. This one, I was really on the fence on who gets number 2 and number 3 between this character and Dan Heng. And I think the main reason that this character is ranking higher currently is because we get so much of them. Probably because it's going to be a while, because of course Dan Heng needs gradual progression, because he's going to be with the story all the way through probably. This character won't be. He was a part of One World, and an XP of one of the best characters in gaming in my opinion. But that isn't why he's here. This is Fëanor or Castellana, the XP of Kevin Castellana. Like the Sereni XP, this character actually fills in the role of another character rather than his actual XP in how the story progresses. He does what Elysia did, in giving himself up to try and provide the opportunity for a future beyond their hopeless situation. He's also a look at Kevin Castellana before he lost everything, because we get a few messages in game in Honkai at third showing Kevin Castellana's original personalities, bits and pieces of animation, like that are technically non-canon or alternative universe rather than actual canon, because they're not stuff that actually happened. They're more seasonal, like, animations that are official, showing the boy be soft, be gentle, be loving, be thoughtful, a little shy, really into sports, really just so carefree at times. And we get Fëanor showing that, but in Fëanor's case, it's a mask for the suffering he already had. Though he was also like that is his true personality, but he does mask his pain. While Kevin, when he went through his suffering, he turned very, very cold. He decided he would do whatever it took to defeat Honkai because that's all he had left now. He lost his lover, he lost all his friends. He still had his role, though, as the deliverer. While Fëanor, he does something similar in Flame Reaver, where he is so dedicated to the cause, he repeatedly kills his friends to take their core flames, to prevent Iron Tomb. Because he took on this duty, but eventually, the Fëanor Weenie decides that he is willing to put faith in his companions and the people who have come here to try and help, in his old companions and the new ones that he now has faith in, to try and save their world by giving himself up in one last attempt to fight Zephyro, to scratch Chinook's face, and then was assimilated into Iron Tomb, where he massively hindered its ability to grow by placing locks on it. He put everything he had into limiting, and even fought us in the end to break the final seal in order for Iron Tomb to finally breach the world so we could kill it. He gave everything. We see his full journey. We see him fight his old feelings and accept that he wants to be the sort of person who still wants to grant his friends wishes, even though he knows that this will bring them closer to the end. He has to take one blind gamble on us to try and help fix things. I love his personality. all the way through this, I think he has handled the best in Amphorius, and I will look forward to seeing this man again in the future. Now we'll go for honourable mentions, because we know who's first. Let's be honest for a second. Honourable mentions include Aventurine. I think he was handled incredibly well. We get a really good look into his story, and he has potential for the future too. Robin. Because of her contrasting themes with her own brother and her potential in the future, both as someone who is likely capable of being possessed by emanators of the Harmony, which is now one of the apocalypse paths, and her earnest desires as well for the future. My hope is that someday she will have significant relevance when Harmony actually becomes a danger in the story. Firefly. Her circumstances are really tragic. I think that Firefly's a sweetheart, but I couldn't, in good consciousness, move any of the characters that I've got above, like, all of the top 10. I couldn't move any of them out to fit Firefly in. I just couldn't. Cypher. She, to me, outside of Fanon and Serene, is actually one of the best characters for development in Amphorius. She performed such a selfless act and deceived all the way through, claiming that, you know, she was just being selfish and she just wanted some freedom, she just wanted this, she just wanted that. When all she was trying to do was maintain a protective lie to maintain everyone else's sense of normal through the power of the Titan that she obtained. She made the others be able to believe in a future. Imagine if everyone saw flaming sky. Do you think they'd believe in the flame chase journey anymore? When things are like, people are dying and the sky is burning and it's clearly the end times. Do you think people would have earnestly backed the other flame chasers if they saw all that? Maybe out of desperation, but it wouldn't have been earnest, and it would have just caused mass chaos. She was one of the most selfless characters in the story, while also being one of the most fun. So, first place. This should come as a shock to absolutely no one, and if you are surprised, I'm questioning why. It is March 7th, and then I'll put in brackets Evernight because they are the exact same character. This girl is bright, bubbly, sweet, an amnesiac who worries about her past, created backstories for herself, uses her bubbliness as a front to hide her insecurities, and also because she wants to be that way. While Evernight reveals that her amnesia is a choice because she wanted to be a better person. Because as a person before, quote-unquote March 7th, or whatever her original name is, was willing to become a Lord Ravager, desired to kill all the other pure seeds of Anazriver, wanted the death of her path. She also was willing to become a Galaxy Ranger or a follower of the beauty, but she did truly consider the worst outcome, and then saw the Express's light and decided she wanted better. She's incredibly capable, she's slowly maturing as the story goes on, and I love seeing this girl interact with others. She brings out seemingly the best in the other characters. Her silliness, her mild stupidity at times, I'm sorry. Like, at times she's just so unadjusted and the others just call it out, or she just doesn't know things and the others call it out, specifically Darnhung. But the amount of love she feels, how grateful she is for this journey, how much she wants to continue it. She is very well defined. We know so much about this girl while also knowing nothing at all yet, because we know so little about her past, and just how much her past will affect her future intentions. She has the most possibilities out of any member of the cast at all, with the news that now, you know, any pure seed of Anazriver can ascend into Thule, her connections to Enigmata, which we know was born directly of remembrance, meaning she has the possibility of becoming emanators at minimum, if not aeons, of two paths, her willingness to use it to create the outcome she wanted, effortlessly transforming Amphorius for a time until she realized she couldn't keep doing that. Eventually we will reach a massive deciding point in her story where it will potentially change everything. And I believe that March will come out of it loving humanity to the point where the remembrance will not be an apocalypse anymore. That's my belief. And even if we exclude her capability of, in the future, being tied to or becoming an Aeon, all of the other things about her character, and about her desire to just be a better person, I think are worth listing her this high. I know some people find her grating. I never did. I don't dislike March at all. If anything, I found some of her interactions quite funny. The cheerful silliness is quite nice in contrast to the other characters. And because we know we're going to keep seeing more of her, I don't see her ever moving from first for me in this game. Hopefully you guys had fun listening to my thoughts on my favourites. Let me know what yours are. Let me know if you like, this is a personal opinion thing. If you have different characters and you think that they are, like, so much weightier than these, I want to hear how you feel about your faves. Like, this is the thing. It doesn't need constructive criticism because how you feel about a character won't shift how I do, but it's fun that we can have discussing a game we clearly each enjoy and characters that we each have spent a lot of time with. And I think that's really valuable and fun. So, if you had fun with this, I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed, and maybe checked out some of my other videos because you should hopefully have fun with those as well. Until next time, have a good night, morning, day, whatever time it is, wherever you guys are in the world, and take care of yourselves. Bye.